In this trailer analysis, I'm going to be going over the Dark Souls 3 trailer, looking at anything that pertains to Dark Souls 1 and 2, whilst also trying to figure out what the hell Dark Souls 3 could mean for the series. Okay, so first things first, it's produced by Bandai Namco Entertainment, same people that produced Dark Souls 1 and 2, and we see a bonfire that looks like the same bonfire we've seen throughout every game. Okay, yep, you guessed it. Developed by From Software and directed by Miyazaki, the person that did Dark Souls 1. In this shot, we see the actual player character, assumedly, carrying around a dead body to possibly use as the new bonfire mechanic. Because if you remember, in the leaked images video, we did actually get to see an image of that mechanic in use, although here we get to see the first portion of the mechanic instead of the second. Okay, this right here is one of the most important things in the actual trailer itself, regardless of any CGI we've seen in it so far or to come. This is the most important thing to think about. It reads, "Only embers remain," but remain from what? Lordran or Drangleic? And I'm assuming Drangleic from the next photo, because what we see about Drangleic in the next few images actually kind of solidifies that theory. Basically, what I think this is saying here is that the world has finally been desolated by the curse of the undead, and by the abyss in general. Or hell, it could even be the first flame that's done this, because as we see next, the world is just covered in ash, and it just looks like the world has become the next kiln of the first flame. And just one last note on what this could mean. It points more towards a sequel than a prequel, because it says only embers remain, whereas if it was a prequel, it may say something that kind of would pertain more to something that is in between, like a statement that would carry over between both games instead of saying that something remains from the last one. I just want to grab this image quickly before we go on to the next one, because I have a theory on where this could be, and I think it's Majula, because in the background, like the very, actually it'd be more the mid ground if you incorporate what's coming up next as well. But if you look at the top of the frame, you can actually see a little bit of an aqueduct, and then in the foreground, all you see is really just rubble of houses and just architecture in general, and then a statue in the very, very foreground. And I think it's Majula, even though the type of architecture on the very right hand side doesn't really look like it, but I don't know, it might have been changed, or just like there might be extra rubble, or it might have been built upon in the time between Dark Souls 2 and Dark Souls 3, so who knows what could have changed. But between the sunken landscape with the the ruined architecture and the aqueduct in the background, the only place that we've known in Dark Souls 2 to be between Majula and Drangleic Castle is that aqueduct, and that's all we can really make out from this vague picture right now. But if we go up to the next one here, yep, that's the one. Well, it really does look like Anor Londo at first sight. But then again, if you do incorporate what I said previously, and look at this picture of Drangleic compared to what it is here, you can instantly see that it is in fact Drangleic, although it is now decrepit and looks abandoned. And if you're thinking that, oh no, Anor Londo also had those bridges between the arches in the architecture, and also an aqueduct, then you need to remember that Anor Londo was also surrounded by a giant wall, and had Sen's Fortress before it, neither of which we see here. Drangleic Castle was kind of the afterimage to Anor Londo in the Dark Souls series. They both share similar architecture, so even I got them confused at first. It's an easy mistake to make. Also, Dark Souls 1 and 2 are set in the same location, just with their names being different, Lordran and Drangleic, and them being millennia apart. So Drangleic and Anor Londo are pretty much just one and the same. Okay, so these are either a group of NPCs or enemies that we haven't seen before. To me, they look like copies of the Merchant Hag Melentia from Dark Souls 2. Their attire seems to be like that of what you would see from a nomad in the Dark Souls series, or even that of a desert wayfarer sort of thing. I don't think they're hollows because they seem to have a mind of their own, traveling in packs with some sort of purpose. And if you look at their walking sticks, it almost looks as if they have the incense from Bloodborne, but the more practical use for it would be a sort of bell or a sound that it makes, so if they get lost in the sandstorm, their other companions could find them. We could see this in the form of an enemy, wherein if you alert one of the enemies in that group, the rest of them will fall in and attack you, therefore probably ending your life pretty quickly. It could work sort of like the pyromancers in the Undead Crypt in Dark Souls 2, just probably better thought out since it's Miyazaki. But on the other hand, the thing on the end of their stick could just be literally an accessory. Like that could be all it is, just an aesthetic thing for the enemy or NPC. It doesn't really have to mean anything, I suppose. As I was saying earlier, it in fact looks like that in this trailer, that the world itself has been overtaken just by ash and smog, and it actually looks like the world itself has become the new kiln of the first flame, which would be really interesting, turning the entire landscape of the game itself into the actual kiln. Now, that could change a lot of things in the lore, because we know that the kiln of the first flame is either the throne of Dark Souls 2, or the actual first flame itself when you defeat Gwyn in Dark Souls 1. But this kind of goes back to my theory on the whole Gwyn being the god of sunlight because he created the sun sort of thing. And I just thought of like another thing where if he created the sun, wouldn't that mean the kiln of the first flame is actually the world itself? I mean, he didn't create the world, but he brought sunlight and light onto it, so it would kind of make sense in that respect. It could be possible that the first flame from Dark Souls 1 that you relight is just a kind of a link between the sun and Earth itself. So you light the bonfire and you hurl yourself into the flame, and it relights the world for another millennia or so. So basically, you sacrifice yourself and your body so that the sun can stay alive, essentially. Maybe that is why Gwyn was so adamant on keeping the first flame lit, because he didn't want to lose what he had created. Like, the sun was literally almost like his child. Not to mention the age of darkness and man would have seeped in. He wanted to stop that, but he also wanted to keep the first flame lit so that he could keep his creation alive. But yeah, that's just a theory and a thought, so don't read too much into it. And then we see this big city, sort of like Anor Londo or Elaim Lois or Drangleic Castle. And by all respects, honestly, this looks like Yharnam. Like seriously, like tell me that is not the clock tower from Yharnam. Like even the architecture with the pointed buildings and the pointed rooftops looks like Yharnam. Now, I'm not saying that this is Yharnam and Yharnam is in Dark Souls 3. No, that would not happen. This is Dark Souls, Bloodborne is Bloodborne, etc. What I'm saying is that Miyazaki just got done directing Bloodborne, so there's obviously a bit of inspiration left over from that we could be seeing in Dark Souls 3, which is kind of evident here. Now this, I tried to stay up all night thinking of what this could be, and I still don't really know. Like, we've seen crowns and stuff in Dark Souls 2, but this looks like it has something moving in the actual, like, face piece itself, and it's a face piece, like, it's not a crown. She actually puts it on her face in the next scene, and what's inside it actually looks like the abyss. Like, it looks like moving abyss inside the crown. I don't know if it's a portal to be able to see maybe, like, a world that is different to the one that she is physically in, sort of like Insight from Bloodborne, but what I think it is a headpiece that allows her to see the world, or what the world could be, which may be why the world is not covered in ash and smog here, but it is in the previous shots. So she can see the world that might come to fruition, possibly. And this would tie in with the speculation that people think time travel is going to be a bigger aspect in Dark Souls 3. So you may be able to find crowns like these, look into them, and then traverse a time travel sort of area. The other theory I have about this person is that she could be like one of the final pieces of Manus, and this crown is what is containing Manus's essence or something like that, because as we can see, it actually holds something that squirms around and moves, and it does look like the Abyss. Okay, so we can hear a bell. That points us to the realization that the place that she's in right now is the same place that looked like Yharnam in the previous shot. I don't know what that could mean. Like, it kind of looks like a sort of a holy place, sort of like Bloodborne and the Healing Church, but she might be a priestess of some sort. Sorry to cut out that fantastic music, but here it looks like she's actually able to see regardless of the mask that she's put on. She puts the mask on her face and then she looks up into the light as if she can see. It's sort of like Bloodborne, where the choir members have something occluding their eyes, but they can still see the world for what it truly is. Anyway, I'll leave it to you guys to speculate more on this because I really don't have any ideas left on what it could mean. Okay, same sort of bell tower again. This could be the exact same place as I was talking about before. The aforementioned bell tower, the aforementioned Bloodborne city. It kind of looks similar to the Hunter's Copse or the Forest of the Fallen Giants from Dark Souls 2, just a lot darker in atmosphere. I don't know what kind of significance the tolling of the bell could hold, but I just hope that the tolling of the bell is not the same mechanic as they used in Bloodborne, or at least a copy of it. The sky is like really overcast and grey and stuff, so this could be the ash world that we see in the trailer beforehand. Just a quick side note here, this area looks incredibly similar to one of the pieces of concept art shown in the leaked images. It kind of looks like the Hunter's Copse, as I was saying. Although, this is a very sort of foresty area, and we do see a lot of tombstones in the ground, so I'm wondering if this could actually be the Forest of Fallen Giants, albeit after a lot of time has gone past. So here we see a casket, and I'm not sure if it's open. It actually kind of does look open. And in the next scene, I think we see the Giant Lord rise out of it. But judging from the scope of this shot, I can't actually tell how big the coffin actually is. Judging from the fact that the next shot is the Giant Lord rising up, it's probably a pretty fucking big coffin. Okay, take your bets, ladies and gentlemen. Who wants to guess how the Giant Lord comes back? Because I don't fucking know. Is it time travel? Is it multiple dimensions? Right now, the only one that knows for sure is Miyazaki. Not only is the Giant Lord back, but he's wearing Vendrick's crown. Could this signify that Vendrick not only took the giants, but also their crown and kingdom? The most likely answer is yes. Vendrick took the giants, and in the process, he took their kingdom from them. Vendrick's crown in Dark Souls 2 must have in fact belonged to the Giant Lord before Vendrick himself. The most unlikely other two scenarios is that 1. Your player from Dark Souls 2 has become the new Giant Lord and King of Drangleic. Or scenario 2, there is a new Giant Lord and he's here for revenge. In my personal opinion, time travel is a better plot than revenge for this scenario, or for any of the scenarios really. And for those still unconvinced that this is in fact the Giant Lord from Dark Souls 2, take a look at this picture, and then take a look at the weapon that he wields. It's a giant cleaver, the same weapon that you get from the soul of the last giant in Dark Souls 2. The Giant Lord in the pictures though isn't wearing armor, so this could be in fact taking place during his prime. He isn't wearing the same crown in the pictures either. This could mean that Vendrick took the crown shown on screen here for himself, and the Giant Lord had to come up with a replacement. This image could possibly be taking place in a time where the Giant Lord still had control over his kingdom and possession of his crown. Although, after pointing out all these differences and similarities, it kind of strikes me that this may not actually be the Giant Lord himself, because, for one, he has skin that is like molten rock. I don't know why this could be, but it brings up a lot of questions, and I really don't have any answers for them right now. I think we have to see quite a bit more from Dark Souls 3 before we can accurately judge if this is the Giant Lord or not. Anyways, that's about all I have to analyze on this, so yeah, if you have any speculation or questions, just leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to every single one. I can't promise that I will, but I'll do my best. Anyway, yeah, Dark Souls 3 comes out on Xbox One, PlayStation 4, and apparently PC now that they've confirmed it with E3 in early 2016. So yeah, I look forward to it, and I hope you guys do too. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed.